Welcome to the Richmond Public Schools Distance Learning Modules. In this series, we will learn Grade 8 Mathematics, but we will have a different focus each week. This week, we will focus on SOL 8.14b, Simplifying Algebraic Expressions. Today, we will learn how to use the distributive property with a negative factor. Before we get started, you will need a few supplies: your interactive notebook or a few sheets of paper, a pencil or other writing utensil, and the Desmos Scientific Calculator. Here are the answers to yesterday's problem set, Week 1, Day 4. Please take time to check your answers and make any corrections. Please take a few more seconds to check your answers. We are now ready to look at our instructional video, which will explain our skill for today. Before we get started, please make sure you have your notebook or your paper ready, as you will copy the notes as the instructor goes through the lesson. The video is also linked in the presentation. Now we will look at model example number 1. Please take a moment to copy down the expression. Now we will look at the solution. Now you will notice on the outside of the parentheses that we do not seem to have a number. Remember, we said that if we do not have a visible coefficient, that is understood to be 1. So we're going to rewrite that with a -1 there. You do not have to rewrite the -1, but it just makes it easier when you're distributing. So I'm going to start off by distributing or multiplying the -1 times the 3x inside the parentheses. I'm going to use my same operation that is inside the parentheses, which is subtraction. And then I'm going to multiply -1 times 9. My next step is just to simplify. And here I'm just showing you what colors go together. So the red is the -1 times 3x and the blue is the -1 times 9. So when I simplify, I have -1 times 3x, which gives us -3x, minus -1 times 9, which gives us -9. So now I just want to clean up my symbols. I have minus a negative, which is the same as addition. And that is my final answer. Now let's look at model example number 2. Please take a moment to write the expression. And now let's look at the solution. So I'm going to start by multiplying my -4 times 4. Remember, when we distribute using multiplication. So I'm going to multiply -4 times 4. I'm going to use the operation that's inside my parentheses, which is addition. And then I'm going to multiply -4 times 3p. Now I'm going to simplify. And this next step is the step, remember, that you can skip. So if you understand, that first step, I'm sorry, is a step you can skip. So if you understand the -4 times 4 is going to give you the -16, you can go ahead and write that. You don't have to write that multiplication step there. That's just to make sure that we understand where these numbers are coming from. So I have -4 times 4, which gives us -16, and -4 times 3p, which gives us -12p. And remember, we want to clean up those signs, so we have plus a negative, and that's going to give us -12p. But remember, we spoke last week in our video about the fact that we need to reorder our terms so that we can make sure they're in the correct order. And the correct order is that the constant term should go last. And so we just reordered that. I wrote -12p because I had minus and negative are the same. Same for the 16. Let's look at a couple problems for you to try yourself. Please take a moment to go ahead and write down the problems and go ahead to try to simplify them, and then we will look at the solutions. I'm going to give you a few seconds to try to simplify those on your own using the distributive property, and then we will look at the worked out solutions and you can check your work. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, let's look at the solution to the first expression, -8 times b plus 3. Remember, the key here is to remember that when you use the distributive property, you are multiplying, and to always hold on to that operation that's inside the parentheses. That is extremely important. So notice I have -8 times b. I didn't draw the arcs this time because we want to move away from that. But if you need to draw those, feel free to draw those. But I have -8 times b plus, because that's my operation inside my parentheses, -8 times 3. And then I simplify that. -8 times b is just -8b plus -8 times 3, which is -24. And then I want to rewrite that as -24 because we know positive times a negative is a negative. And my final answer is -8b minus 24. Let's look at the solution to the second expression, -6 times 5 minus y. So I'm going to multiply negative 6 times 5 minus, because that is my operation inside my parentheses, negative 6 times y. And then I'm going to simplify. So for negative 6 times 5, we'll get negative 30. And we're going to have minus negative 6y. And then I'm going to clean up my symbols. And I have minus a negative, which is the same as addition. And now remember, what do I have to do next? That's right, I need to reorder because I want my variable term first and my constant to be last. And when you reorder, you will have 6y. It's going to be positive because you have plus, and then it will be minus 30 because that was a negative 30. And that concludes our lesson for today. During your remaining work time, please complete the practice problems as well as the online practice. The answers to your practice problems will be in tomorrow's module. Please enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.